Welcome home to Dogaholic. I've spent a lot of my life paying attention to quiet things. The shift of the seasons, the way weather changes the land, the way living creatures communicate without ever speaking a word. And the truth is, some of the deepest conversations I've ever had were not with people. They happened at the end of a leash across a kitchen floor beside a couch, or in the silence of an ordinary morning with a dog. We think we know our dogs, we feed them, we shelter them, we love them. We tell ourselves that because our intentions are good, our actions must be good too. But that is not always how it works. What research and modern behavior science keep showing us is this: many of the things humans do in the name of love are deeply misunderstood by dogs. Not because dogs are cold, not because they are broken, but because they are dogs. And too often we keep asking them to live in a human emotional language instead of learning theirs. And that misunderstanding has consequences. Right now today, a lot of loving owners may be putting unnecessary stress on their dogs simply because they are reading the situation through human eyes instead of canine ones. They are looking at the context, the routine, the intention, the story they tell themselves. But they are not always looking carefully at the dog in front of them. So tonight, that is what we are going to do. We are going to stop guessing. We are going to stop projecting. And we are going to start noticing what your dog has been telling you all along with their eyes, their mouth, their body, their movement, their stillness, and all those subtle little signals most people miss. By the end of this video, I do not want you to just see a pet. I want you to see a sentient adult animal with a nervous system, preferences, limits, coping strategies, and a voice of their own. A being who has probably been communicating clearly for years if only someone would slow down enough to listen. Part 1. The Primate Paradox. Why hugs often miss the mark. Let's start with the one that is hardest for people to hear. You come home after a long day. Your dog is there waiting for you. You kneel down, wrap your arms around them, and hold them close. To you, that feels like love. It feels comforting. It feels natural. It feels like connection. And for humans, it is. But dogs are not primates. Humans use embracing to signal safety, attachment, affection, and emotional closeness. That makes sense in our species, but dogs did not evolve to read a full-body restraint the same way we do. In canine terms, having movement restricted can be uncomfortable, stressful, or threatening, especially when the dog did not choose it. That is why so many dogs show subtle stress signals during hugging or close physical restraint. You may see the whites of the eyes. You may notice the ears slide back. The mouth gets tight. The body stiffens. The dog turns the head away. Sometimes they hold still so completely that owners mistake that stillness for comfort. But stillness is not always comfort. Sometimes stillness is tolerance. Sometimes it is uncertainty. Sometimes it is a freeze response. Sometimes it is a dog choosing the safest possible way to get through a moment they do not enjoy. That does not mean your dog never wants physical affection. It means affection has to be understood from the dog's side, not just yours. Real affection for many dogs is contact they can control. A dog leaning into your leg, resting against your foot, choosing to climb up beside you, bringing their body close and staying there because they want to. Gentle petting in places they enjoy. Predictable touch, respectful touch, touch that can stop the second they say they are done. That kind of contact can strengthen the bond. Studies on dog-human interaction have linked warm, positive interaction with oxytocin-related bonding effects, but the quality and context of that interaction matter. Dogs do best when they feel safe, not trapped. So the question is not, do I love my dog? The question is, does my dog experience what I am doing as love? That is a very different question. And if more owners asked it, a lot of dogs would feel more understood tonight than they did yesterday. Comment prompt. Have you ever noticed your dog look away, stiffen, or pin their ears back when someone hugs them? Those tiny shifts matter more than most people realize. Part 2. The myth of the guilty look. Now let's talk about the face every dog owner thinks they know. You walk into the room. There is trash on the floor, a shoe has been chewed, something has been knocked over, and your dog gives you that look, tail low ears, back eyes, avoiding yours body small. Most people say the same thing. He knows he did wrong, but the science does not really support that interpretation. One of the best-known studies on this found that the so-called guilty look was strongly influenced by the owner's behavior, not the dog's actual misdeed. Dogs often displayed that guilty expression when owners believed they had done something wrong even when they had not. In other words, that expression appears to be less like a confession and more like a social response to human tension, anger, or disapproval. What you are often seeing is not guilt in the human moral sense. You are seeing appeasement. You are seeing conflict avoidance. You are seeing a dog responding to your tone, your posture, your face, your energy. They are trying to calm the situation down. That matters because once you understand that yelling starts to look very different, when owners raise their voice after the fact, they usually believe they are teaching a lesson. But dogs do not sit there replaying a moral narrative in their heads. They learn through association. Timing matters, predictability matters, consequences matter. And repeated aversive training methods, yelling intimidation, physical corrections, have been associated with poorer welfare outcomes, including more stress-related behavior and elevated cortisol in some training contexts. Reward-based training is consistently recommended by the American Veterinary Society of Animal Behavior. So no, that look is probably not your dog admitting guilt. It is much more likely your dog trying to survive the emotional weather in the room. And once you see that the humane response changes, you stop trying to make them feel bad and you start asking better questions. What was the dog trying to do? What need went unmet? What setup failed? What can I teach next time instead? That is where progress lives, not in shame, in clarity. Part 3. The scavenger's brain. The feeding mistake most people miss. Here's another quiet mistake many good owners make every single day. They pour food into a bowl, set it down, the dog eats in under a minute, and the task is considered done. Technically, yes, the dog has been fed, but biologically and behaviorally, something important may be missing. Dogs evolved as foragers, scavengers, problem solvers, and opportunists. Their brains were not built just to consume food. They were built to seek it, locate it, work for it, and use their senses while doing it, especially smell. That process matters. Sniffing is not a trivial behavior to a dog. It is one of the most important ways they gather information, regulate emotion, and engage with the world. Research on nose work and scent-based activities has shown measurable welfare benefits, including more positive judgment bias, basically a more optimistic emotional state. Recent reviews also support the value of scent-based enrichment for canine welfare. That means food can be more than calories. It can be a daily opportunity for agency problem-solving, confidence building, and mental regulation. When dogs have no outlet for natural investigation and no meaningful mental work, that energy does not just disappear, it often comes out sideways. Barking, pacing, digging, shredding things, constant demand behavior, restlessness that owners label as bad, when in many cases it is simply understimulated biology. So do not just feed the dog. Let the dog do dog things with the food. Scatter the kibble in the grass. Use a snuffle mat. Put part of dinner in a puzzle feeder. Hide food around a room and let them search. Slow them down. Make the meal an event, not a transaction. 15 minutes of thoughtful, scent-based work can do more for some dogs than a long stretch of repetitive exercise that never really engages the brain. And maybe that is the point. A tired body is useful. A satisfied mind is life-changing. Part 4. The walk is not transportation. It is a conversation. Now let's talk about the walk. Too many people think a walk is just exercise with a leash attached. Get around the block, burn energy, get it done, move on. But to a dog, a walk is not just movement. It is information, it is regulation, it is orientation, it is exposure. It is a full sensory conversation with the outside world. And yet this is where many relationships start getting tangled. A dog pulls on leash and people shrug it off. He's just a puller. But leash pulling is not a personality trait written in stone. It is behavior shaped by repetition. If pulling consistently gets the dog where they want to go, then pulling works. And behaviors that work tend to repeat. But the issue is bigger than inconvenience. Constant leash tension can keep both dog and human in a loop of frustration. Add excitement, unfamiliar people, barking dogs, traffic, and overstimulation, and you have a nervous system that is already working hard before the walk has really begun. Then come the greetings. Someone smiles and says, "Can I pet your dog?" Your dog lunges forward. You say yes because saying no feels awkward. But every uncontrolled greeting teaches something. It may teach your dog that strangers are the biggest reward in the environment. It may teach them that arousal is the way to access what they want. It may teach them that checking in with you is optional. That is why so many dogs become emotionally messy in public. Not bad, not dominant, not stubborn, just over-rehearsed in excitement and under-practiced in regulation. The walk should not be a battle and it should not be a free-for-all. It should be a dialogue. Teach the dog that your attention matters. Pause before crossing thresholds. Reward eye contact. Let them sniff, but not drag. Let them observe, but not spiral. Become the calm center of the experience, not the handle at the end of it. Your dog does not just need a route. Your dog needs an anchor. And when you become that anchor, the whole outside world starts feeling less chaotic to them. Part 5, Decoding the Silent Language. Most dogs are talking all day long. The real problem is not that dogs are silent. The problem is that humans are loud. We miss the whispers because we are waiting for something dramatic. A growl, a bark, a snap. But long before a dog gets that direct, they often send smaller signals, polite, quiet, conflict-avoiding signals that say, "I'm uncomfortable, I need space, this is too much," or "Please slow down." Those signals matter. A yawn when the dog is not sleepy can be a sign of stress or social tension. A lip lick when there is no food around can signal discomfort or uncertainty. A paw lift can show hesitation. A full body shake when the dog is dry can be a reset after arousal or stress. Turning the head away, looking away, or curving the body can be a respectful request for distance. These are not random little quirks. They are part of the dog's communication system. Reviews of canine stress behavior and welfare assessment regularly include signals like lip licking, yawning, look-away behavior, posture changes, and other subtle facial or body cues as meaningful indicators in context. And context matters. One signal by itself does not tell the whole story. But clusters of signals, repeated patterns, and timing around specific situations can tell you a great deal. This is where better ownership begins. Not with control, not with dominance, with observation. The dog who licks their lips when a child hugs them. The dog who yawns when guests crowd them. The dog who turns their head when a hand reaches over them. The dog who shakes off after being touched. The dog who freezes right before everyone says, "Oh, he's fine." No, maybe he is not fine. Maybe he is being polite. And polite dogs get ignored every day because their distress does not look dramatic enough for people to respect it. Once you start seeing that silent language, you cannot unsee it. And that is a good thing. Because the difference between a dog who feels safe and a dog who merely endures often comes down to whether the human notices the first whisper or waits for the shout. Part 6. From Control to Care. Why the alpha story failed so many dogs. For years, dog owners were told they needed to be the alpha, the leader, the boss, the one who always goes first, always wins, always controls the space, always proves status. That idea has done a lot of damage. The American Veterinary Society of Animal Behavior has explicitly rejected dominance theory as a framework for solving common pet dog behavior problems, warning that it leads owners toward confrontation and force instead of effective, humane teaching. Your dog is not waking up every morning trying to overthrow you. Your dog is not plotting for rank over the couch. Your dog is not your rival. What most dogs need is not domination. They need clarity. They need security. They need consistency. They need choice where choice is possible. They need guidance that makes sense to their species. In modern welfare, science agency matters. The ability to make choices express natural behavior and influence one's own experience is increasingly recognized as part of good welfare. That does not mean your dog gets unlimited freedom. It means a healthy life is not built entirely on force and compliance. So instead of asking, how do I control this dog? Ask, how do I help this dog feel safe enough to learn? Can they choose which side to walk on sometimes? Can they decline contact? Can they move away? Can they work for food? Can they sniff? Can they pause? Can they communicate discomfort without being punished for it? That is not weakness. That is respect. Dogs are not children. They are not furry humans. They are adult animals of another species, and they deserve to be met with enough humility that we stop asking them to act human just to earn peace in our homes. Closing the dog you already have. Every mistake we talked about tonight usually comes from the same place. Love. Not bad intentions, not cruelty, not indifference. Just love without enough information. You hug because you love them. You correct because you care. You rush the walk because life is busy. You feed quickly because the day is full. You miss the signals because nobody ever taught you what they meant. And that is exactly why this conversation matters. Because once you know better, you can do better. You can stop forcing contact and start inviting it. You can stop punishing communication and start rewarding honesty. You can turn meals into enrichment. You can make walks less chaotic and more connected. You can notice the look away, the lip lick, the yawn, the shake off and respond before stress piles up. And here's the beautiful part: dogs are remarkably resilient. Trust can be rebuilt, patterns can change, safety can be learned, connection can deepen. The calm, confident, emotionally connected dog you want may not be some future dog you have to create from scratch. It may be the dog already living in your home. The same dog, the same eyes, the same heart, just finally understood. Community question. Which one of these hidden messages surprised you the most? Is there something your dog does that makes a lot more sense to you now? Tell me in the comments. I read them, and I love hearing how these small breakthroughs change the way people live with the dogs they love. If this video changed the way you see the soul at the end of the leash, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And until next time, keep listening. They are always talking to you. If this kind of content speaks to you, subscribe to Dogaholic and join a community that wants to understand dogs on a deeper level. Not just train them, not just manage them, but truly listen to them. This channel is for people who believe dogs are more than pets. They are emotional, intelligent, sensitive companions, and they deserve owners who are willing to learn their language. Here on Dogaholic, we break down canine behavior, body language, stress signals, trust bonding, and the science behind what dogs really need to feel safe and understood. So if you want less guessing, less frustration, and a stronger relationship with the dog beside you, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with us. Because the better you understand your dog, the better your dog's whole life becomes. And that is what Dogaholic is here for.